flash. Oh yeah, all joking aside, flash photography. It's one of the photographer's #1 accessories that he should have without counting the glass he uses. Anyway, I did a video not so long ago about the YN568EX from Yongno. I mean, this flash is a great bargain flash that is modern. You know, this is a modern flash with modern features like ITTL, manual mode, and all of it. It still has the PC port, so you can use it with older cameras that it doesn't have a hot shoe, and it has slave mode, so you can use the on-camera flash to sync with this, so you can use it off the camera. But I have to admit that I've actually bought from China a pack of those small generic pocket wizard clones, so you can have a radio controlled flash. So I started to look around as well. Excuse me, it's winter time here in Sweden, so self cracks in the fingers. The cold makes your fingers crack, so you start to bleed a little bit. Just been out shoveling snow, in fact. But anyway, excuse me. What I thought that, what if I need to get some more flash to use, fill flash when I do some photography. So I started to look on the internet. So I had this Yongnuo that I bought new for myself, and before that we had this. This is the flash that was tucked away in a cupboard during my upbringing. It's the Nikon Speedlight SB20. This is a very simple little flash. It has the full Nikon hot shoe, and it has TTL. Doesn't work TTL on digital DSLR cameras, but on old school 35mm cameras, 35mm film cameras that is, it works a treat. But anyway, this flash was the first one I started to use before I got the Yongnuo, and I used it on manual mode, and it was good fill flash. So when you were outdoors and in the shade and so on, this flash was very good. So, and this is quite old now too, and it just works. It's one of those things that are a real workhorse when it comes to flashes. It's nothing flashy, pun intended, but it works, and these can be had for not much money. And then I thought, well, maybe I should get something else, because I can use more than 2 flashes when I eventually get the pocket wizards. So I went on, or rather, I'm gonna back up a little bit. If you look at one of my first very crappy overviews of the Vivitar 70-210 zoom lens that had a dedicated macro function, and is probably one of the best macro lenses I have to date, that it's not a full macro obviously, but for my purposes it's very good indeed. I started to look around, and I found that there are ring flashes, the type that you put on the lens of your camera. You screw in like a filter thread adapter thing, and then you put the ring flash on it. And I actually started to look around, and I found one that was not that expensive, and I thought maybe I've done myself in with this one because it might not work that well. But anyway, this is not scripted, by the way. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. But anyway, this is what I got. The Sompac Auto DX12R. As you can see, this also is a full hot shoe, and it's a ring flash by Sompac. You put this on the front of your camera. So this flash, I think I have batteries in this actually, so yeah, you can hear that. I'm holding it up to the microphone. Yeah, see if it can be charged up. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, it works. It works a treat. I don't know if the flash is picked up by the camera, but anyway, it works. It works. These flashes, if you get them, used, they're not much money, and they just work. They're great stuff. And this one is kind of simple on the backside. You don't have the TTL modes and so on. You just have the simple on-off switch here, the auto check, ready or test firing. You have the, you can change it here between a automatic and a manual mode. So I usually have it in manual mode. Up here you put your ISO. So you can put the sensitivity of, before it was your film sensitivity. Now it's basically the sensitivity of your sensor in the camera. But anyway, you put your ISO up here, then you put your f-stop, or rather, you have your f-stop chart here, and then you have recommended distance from the subject. And that can be changed then also with the amount, or rather the power set of the flash. You have 1/6, 1/16, 1/8, 1/4, half, and full power. So this flash I've had it, a lot of use of, because it works great for what it is. It works with the camera's hot shoe. It works with the D7200, and I've used it with macro photography, but I think it can be used fairly decently as a normal flash as well. And it came also with this little pouch with these rings that are the substitutes for filters. You screw these on the filter mount on your camera, and it has some of the, it came with 4 rings, so it's the 4 most common sizes I would suspect. 55mm, 52, 62, and the big 67, and this is the one I used on the Vivitar lens in question. But anyway, that's the Sumpac DX12R. Excuse me, making a mess of things. As I said, this is not scripted, this is just for a bit of a laugh. But anyway, they were really great. But still, this is not really that usable, on its own. Maybe I can put it in like a soft box or something, some DIY stuff. By the way, if you want to look up some great DIY tips on flash photography, I would recommend 2 channels. First, you have Philip McCordle, that British old advertising photographer. He has some great tutorials about flash. And then the Angry Photographer. He has some really good DIY projects about how to make different contraptions to get the most out of your flash. But anyway, I started to look around again, and for now maybe I have a little bit of a soft spot for that brand with the red 1 on it. So I went on eBay, surprise, and I found this. This is the Vivitar Series 1 600 CR, and this was also bought from Germany. And I don't have any batteries in this for the moment, but I have tested it, and it's fully operational. It works good, and it even came with a manual. So yeah, I'll put that aside for now. But anyway, this flash is great. If you wonder what's rattling, it's the battery holder that is supposed to be in the flash, like so. So that's the little bit of rattle you might hear. But anyway, I mean, flashes are so inexpensive now if you look on eBay. I would say that if you're considering buying just a simple camera flash, you don't want to use the built-in flash on the camera, don't go into a camera store and buy a flash. Look it up on eBay. Look it up if you have any local, national buy and sell site. Just look up camera flashes, because people will more or less throw these things off to you. As you can see here, it has a zoom feature on this flash from 28, 35, 50 and 105. So it has a bit of a zoom, it has a slit up here for flash cards and so on, and it also has a bending ability. So this flash, great. And I bought for, now it's Swedish currency again, so you have to go on Forex or foreign exchange to get the right conversions. But I think I bought this for 130 Swedish from Germany. Oh, and this was a auction. This wasn't a set price. This was at auction. So flashes, they go for cheap. And this is one of those that can be used in TTL mode, but I use it in manual mode. Everything is kind of self-explanatory on the back. You have the power, auto check, test button, you have the zoom you can put in here. You have the range chart, the f-stop chart, and your ISO up here. So it's a great flash for the money. So now you have 4 flashes that all 4 of these, are brilliant flashes. I mean, the SB20, this was new in the early 90s, and it's great. It's one of those things that just works. You have the Young Nuo, my most modern flash, and this also, it just works. But then I thought about it, well, these flashes are great, directed flashes, but what if you just need fill flash? Something, I think I actually have discovered a new type of psychological disorder, F.A.D, flash acquisition disorder, because I went onto Tradera, which is a Swedish offshoot of eBay, and I just typed in camera flash. Nothing else, just camera flash. And for 120 Swedish kroner, which is about 12 pounds, I did get, well, just another Vivitar, a Toshiba, and this Osram. These 3 in box, all 3 working, for nothing. I mean, look, original packaging, original manuals, the whole 9 yards, for basically nothing. So flash seems to be one of those things that people are basically throwing off to you. I mean, and I have to say, I've tested all of these, and also this Vivitar with the manual. And the Toshiba. Also with the manual. This is my flash collection thus far. So we have everything from the Yongnuo, the Nikon, the Sumpact, the Vivitar, Toshiba, another Vivitar, and this strange contraption. Apparently you have some kind of control here, if it's some kind, I don't know what this is. I haven't, read the manual, but still, 3 flashes to just use, as fill flash with the remotes. You can just place these anywhere. If you're gonna do a evening photography and you need to backlight something, I mean, put one of, and you see all of them, these 3 are not complete hot shoes, so these 3 are perfect to use with, remote control triggers, radio controlled flashes and so on. And one thing I'm actually gonna do, well, I'm back after a bit of a conk out here. Well, this is kind of a thing in the EU. The European Union has this thing that they've decided that if a camera of anything that can film films more than 20 minutes at a time. Apparently it has to be registered as a film camera instead of a still camera, yada yada yada. It's just BS all the time. It's almost as much BS as they talked about the new Nikon D5, and if you have any interest in that, it's just to have a look at it. But anyway, where we were before we got interrupted by a limit of 20 minutes, it was this. My grandfather's old camera, the Zeiss, not the Icon series. But anyway, what we did was that we took this camera out of its package. We're going to do it a little bit quick here. Anyway, you can see here, it's one of these cameras, rangefinder. Look through here. This is what takes the picture. It's a 75mm Zeiss, Carl Zeiss, as I've understood. And we'll take this Vivitar 1900 because it has a PC sync port. Now I put the batteries back, the Claes Olsson batterierna, 2300 mAh, 2300 milliamps, and I'm just gonna put them in this. Let's see, yada yada yada. There we go. Turn it on. Put it on the cold shoe. Take the PC sync port. Put it into this piece here at the lens. Make sure the camera is loaded. Open the shutter. Take a picture. You can see. Loaded a new one. Yeah, have a look. It's a good flash. I mean, this thing really works. And this is what's so fascinating for me, for someone my age who grew up in the 90s, and we had, film photography back then. It was, we had 35mm film, like in the Nikon F.A.D that we used, but not really, because it was too complex. But anyway, when you find something like this, a medium format camera that was basically made post Second World War, so 1945 up and through the 1950s, to find something like this in such great condition, because it has been in the leather case, and and you find it, and you have gotten these cheap flashes that I paid about 120, Swedish krona for. You put some batteries in the flash works, but then you put a PC cord into this 50, 60, almost 70 plus year old camera. And you think that, well, I'm just gonna try it. So you load it up, charge it, and it turns out that it works. It says something about build quality. It really does. And it's fascinating. And if you look at this old camera, it has the controls for here in the front. You have the focus distance. It begins at 120 centimeters or 1.2 meters, so it's metric. The next is this outer rim here, which is basically the shutter speed. And if you look at this, piece here that I used to cock the shutter in the lens, it has a bulb mode. But then you can put it up to a maximum shutter speed of 300 milliseconds. And then back here you have another little tab that you can choose. That's the aperture, and it goes from 4.5 to 22, and it's a smooth operation, so you can actually choose very precisely what type of aperture you want. And one thing more here you basically have the flash sync, the M, the X, and the V. I know one of them is for those old flash bulbs in which you just took one flash per bulb and then it would be used. But this really is a bit of a family heirloom. Grandfather on father's side found it in a closet, and seems to have just been sitting there and not really been used much. It's a real treat to find something like that, and I'm planning to get some 120, medium format film to get into this, because I think just because something isn't brand new, it should be used. And I know that, if I understood it correct, Zeiss, that's Carl Zeiss, and those lenses, at least I know, are extremely great. So even though this is a 75mm, I think it might have a legitimate use in today's world. So I would like, if not for a photographic exercise, I would like to be able to use this camera. So I would like to get a roll of 120 film and try to use it. But anyway, as stated before we were interrupted by the 20-minute limit, this was an improvised video just showing my current flash acquisition disorder. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, man.